All right, get ready because we're taking a deep dive into the world of copywriting today.
Ooh,
And
excited.
you guys have sent in excerpts from the Adweek Copywriting Handbook by Joseph Sugarman.
hmm
So that tells me you are ready to unlock the secrets of compelling ads that actually get results.
This is going to be good because we're not just talking about any copywriting guy.
Right.
This is Joseph Sugarman, the legend, who
Yeah.
who basically introduced America to all of those, those cutting edge gadgets like pocket calculators
Yeah.
and digital watches, and he did it all through his iconic full page ads.
Yeah, those ads were
Events,
events. They
yeah.
were like, whoa, what's going on here?
hmm
So So what are we hoping to learn from this deep dive into Sugarman's world?
Well, today we're going to uncover the core principles behind Sugarman's success,
Okay.
his copywriting axioms, if you will,
Right.
and we'll explore some of his most effective techniques and psychological triggers.
No, these principles weren't confined to just selling gadgets, right?
No, not at all.
This is bigger.
This is much bigger.
Yeah.
That's what makes this so fascinating.
Okay.
His approach really just digs into like the heart of human psychology,
Yeah.
persuasion, and influence.
Right.
So whether you're crafting an email, a presentation, or even a love letter.
Ooh, a love letter, huh?
Yes,
Maybe we'll have to put that to the test later.
maybe.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
But first, let's take a step back and look at Sugarman's background.
Okay.
He wasn't your typical academic, was he?
He was not at all.
Yeah.
He's an entrepreneur
Yeah.
who really believed in learning through experience, especially failure.
Oh, interesting.
In fact, he really emphasizes the point that his failures
Okay.
far outnumbered his successes.
I like that perspective.
Uh-huh.
I think so many people are so afraid of failure,
Oh, yeah.
but he's like, no, that's part of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Embrace the failure.
Mm.
He even talks about attending his, quote, most expensive seminar, end quote,
Okay.
which was at Nature's Response
I've
back
got-
in 1977.
Right.
5 days, $2,000.
Oh, what?
Which, back in 1977,
Yeah.
I mean, that's close to $10,000 today.
Wow. Who was shelling out that kind of money back then for a seminar?
All sorts of people, you name it. UPS drivers, famous authors,
Oh.
just anybody who was eager to learn the secrets behind his success.
Yeah.
And one of the core beliefs that runs through all of Sugarman's work is this. You must become an expert
Okay.
on whatever you are writing about.
Mm.
He lived by that.
And you see that, I
Yeah.
mean, in the way he describes dissecting these digital watches and
Yeah.
spending days just learning about everything from, the gold-plated contacts to, like, the inner workings of laser beam technology,
Right.
just to find that one perfect hook for his headline.
He was meticulous.
Yeah.
He knew that
Yeah.
to truly connect with an audience,
Yeah.
you need more than just a surface understanding.
Right.
You need to grasp not just what something is,
Yeah.
but how it works and why it matters.
I like that.
That's what builds credibility,
Right.
and that's what resonates with readers.
So this emphasis on deep knowledge is really the foundation.
It is.
But how does that translate into the actual art of copywriting?
Mm-hmm.
That's where his 15 axioms come in, right?
Yes, these axioms are really the bedrock of
Okay.
his copywriting philosophy.
All right.
It's like a roadmap to crafting compelling and effective messages.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Are there any that stand out to you as particularly impactful?
Absolutely. Take Axiom 3, for example.
Okay.
It's all about creating what he calls the slippery slide of copy.
All right.
He believed that the sole purpose of the first sentence in an ad
Mm-hmm.
is to get you to read the second sentence.
Okay.
And the purpose of that second sentence is to get you to read the third, and so on.
Right.
It's creating this irresistible flow that just pulls the reader in.
Like a current.
You're like a literary current.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. What else?
How about Axiom 7?
Okay.
It's all about challenging those assumed constraints, those limiting beliefs that hold you back.
Uh-huh.
Sugarman was all about pushing boundaries
Right.
and proving the doubters wrong.
Okay.
He even shares this anecdote about selling, get this, a $600 pinball game by mail,
What?
which everybody told him it would never work.
Yeah.
It was impossible.
Yeah.
But he defied those expectations by just thinking creatively and finding ways to make it work.
I love it.
Yeah,
So it's really not letting those perceived limitations
exactly.
hold you back.
Don't assume constraints that aren't there.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else?
How about Axiom 9?
Okay.
Never sell a product or service.
All right.
Always sell a concept.
Ooh, I like that.
It's such a simple statement,
Hmm.
but it really shifts your perspective.
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's not about listing features.
Mhm.
It's about connecting with the emotions
Okay.
and the desires behind the purchase.
Right, right.
And Sugarman was a master at that, understanding that people buy based on emotion.
Yeah.
And he tapped into those emotions brilliantly.
Okay.
Like, for example, remember his Soviet challenge campaign for chess computers?
Yeah, kind of. Remind me about that.
So he capitalized on the Cold War tension.
Okay.
He transformed a chess computer into this battle of ideologies.
Wow.
It wasn't just about playing chess anymore.
Right.
It was about taking on the Soviets in a battle of wits.
Like Rock Eat the Eye.
It's exactly, it's powerful stuff.
That's huge. So he turned a product into an experience.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got this foundation of deep knowledge.
Yes.
We've got a glimpse into some of his guiding axioms.
Yeah.
But how did Sugarman actually build those legendary ads? What specific techniques did he use?
That's where his 23 key copy elements come in.
Ooh. All right.
Those are the tactical tools that he used to construct those compelling
Okay.
and memorable ads.
All right, so let's unpack those.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's delve into these 23 key copy elements.
Right.
Where do we even begin?
Well, for Sugarman, simplicity was paramount.
Okay.
He was a huge, huge believer in clear, concise language,
Right.
straightforward sentence structure.
Okay.
The goal wasn't to, like, impress with fancy vocabulary or anything.
Okay.
It was to connect with the widest possible audience.
Makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Who wants to be grabbing a dictionary while they're reading an ad for, some new gadget?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he had this really clever approach to making his copy more inviting.
Okay.
He loved using paragraph headings to break up these large, intimidating chunks of text.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember reading about that.
Yeah.
He even used seemingly random headings.
He did. Like he talks about using headings like scrambled eggs
Yeah.
and working and playing in an ad for like a radar detector.
That makes no sense.
That's totally unrelated to the product.
Yeah.
But he found that it worked.
Really?
People were more likely to actually engage with the copy
Wow.
because it felt less daunting, less intimidating, more approachable.
So it's all about creating a sense of ease, invitation, making the reader want to actually delve into the text.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then there's his approach to product explanation,
Okay.
which I found really insightful.
Right.
He advocated for making complex products sound simple,
Okay.
and simple products sound complex.
Now that sounds counterintuitive.
Right.
Yeah. So elaborate on that a little bit.
Okay, so think about it this way.
All right.
If you're dealing with a highly technical product,
Mm-hmm.
bombarding the reader with all this jargon,
Yeah.
that's a surefire way to lose their interest.
Right.
You got to break it down
Yeah.
into digestible, easy to understand pieces.
Right.
But if you're selling something simple,
Okay.
like a smoke detector, you got to create a sense of intrigue.
He actually used that technique with a smoke detector, right?
He did. He did.
Yeah.
He talks about writing this incredibly detailed ad
Okay.
for a smoke detector, going deep into the technical specs,
Okay.
talking about gold contacts and comparator circuit.
Wow.
And it worked.
Okay.
By highlighting all these intricacies.
Okay.
He elevated what was essentially a simple product into something that was special, desirable.
So he made it sound like a cutting edge
Yeah.
piece of technology,
Yeah.
even though it was something that most people would consider like, a basic household item.
Exactly.
Okay, that's wild.
And then, of course, he also utilized those classic tried and true techniques, right?
Okay.
Price comparison,
Mhm.
strong service guarantees,
Right.
and that all-important call to action,
Okay.
directly asking the reader to make a purchase.
So prompting them to actually take that step.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So those are definitely like staples
Mm-hmm.
in the advertising world. I mean, we see those, all the time.
Yeah.
What I'm really curious about is how Sugarman went beyond just the mechanics of writing and tapped into that psychology of persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
That's where his 31 triggers come in.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is where things get really, really captivating.
Okay.
He really dives into those deep-seated psychological forces that really drive our buying decisions.
Okay.
And he outlines 31 specific triggers.
31.
31.
Okay.
These primal urges that influence us
Okay.
to reach for our wallets.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot to unpack.
It is.
Can you give us a sense of how these triggers work?
Absolutely. Let's start with a group that he calls harnessing emotion. These triggers are all about tapping into those deep-seated feelings that shape our behavior.
Oh.
Honesty, exclusivity, simplicity, and, of course, the power of storytelling.
Storytelling seems to be a recurring theme.
It is. It is.
The Sugarman.
It really is.
And speaking of stories, he tells this great one in the book about selling grapefruit by mail.
Oh, yes. It's a classic example of using storytelling to forge this really emotional connection with the reader.
Yeah.
You know, he paints this vivid picture of the rarity and quality of his royal ruby red grapefruit. You can practically taste those grapefruits just by reading his words.
It's true. And it's so funny because, like, it creates this longing for something that you probably didn't even know you wanted.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I didn't even know I wanted a grapefruit, but now I need to have one of those grapefruits.
Yes, yes.
So emotion is one key area.
Yes.
What other psychological levers was he pulling here?
Well, how about the power of hope and fear?
Okay.
You know, these are primal emotions, and Sugarman was so incredibly adept at utilizing them ethically and effectively in his copy.
Do you have any examples of that?
Sure, he talks about an ad that he wrote after the DC-10 crash.
Oh, wow.
Capitalizing on people's anxieties about flying.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah.
On the other hand, he used hope to sell his wrinkle pill.
Okay.
You know, promising a younger, more vibrant version of yourself.
So he was a master at understanding the cultural climate.
Yes.
And tapping into, like, those collective hopes and fears.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, he knew how to connect with his audience on a deeper level.
Yeah.
Then there's the social animal group of triggers,
right,
which really center around our innate need to belong, to conform,
right,
to be part of something bigger than ourselves.
Right.
You know, triggers like authority, conformity, and even the desire to collect all fall into this category.
Yeah, I mean, those are definitely powerful forces. I think we've all experienced those urges at some point.
For sure. He even admits to being susceptible to these influences himself.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He shares this this humorous anecdote about getting caught up in collecting airplane tails.
Airplane tails?
Yes, like the little emblems from the tails of airplanes.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was collecting them.
He's collecting them, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it's refreshing to see that even someone as skilled as Sugarman wasn't immune to these psychological forces.
Right, right. It's not about being above it.
Exactly.
It's just about understanding it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And utilizing it ethically.
Okay, so far we've been focusing primarily on print advertising.
Mm-hmm.
Did Sugarman apply these principles to other forms of media as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
He was incredibly adaptable.
Okay.
You know, he translated his copywriting expertise to catalogs, direct mail pieces, even radio spots.
Oh, and he always emphasized the importance of tailoring your message to the specific medium.
I'm curious about, like, what were some of his key tips for those different formats? I bet he had some interesting insights there.
Oh, for sure. Like with direct mail, for example.
Okay.
He stressed the power of personalization.
Okay.
You know, writing as if you're speaking directly to the recipient.
Right.
Using I liberally, and even signing the letter personally.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and for radio.
Okay.
He had this brilliant idea of using words instead of numbers for toll-free numbers.
Oh, like instead of 1-800-555-1212, it would be like 1-800-FLOWERS.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay.
So much easier to remember, especially if you're like hearing it on the radio while you're driving.
Yeah.
He was always thinking ahead.
Right.
And anticipating how people would actually consume the message.
He was. He really was a master of his craft.
He was.
You can see why he was so successful. Yeah. And I think what's so remarkable about Sugarman is that his insights, they remain so relevant today.
They do.
I mean, sure, you know, technology and the media landscape have evolved, but human nature is remarkably consistent.
It is.
You know, we're still driven by those same emotions, that same desire for connection.
Absolutely.
And we still respond to the power of storytelling.
We do.
It's like he cracked the code of human behavior and found a way to apply it to effective communication.
You really did.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
So what would you say is the most valuable takeaway from all of this?
Okay.
What can our listener apply to their own writing, whether it's it's a marketing email, a presentation, even a personal blog post?
I think the core message here
Okay.
is that effective communication,
Okay.
whether you're selling a product, an idea, or simply yourself,
Right.
hinges on understanding human nature.
Mm-hmm.
It's about empathy. It's about putting yourself in your reader's shoes
Right.
and asking yourself, what are their hopes, their fears, their dreams?
Right.
What makes them tick?
Yeah.
How can I connect with them on a deeper level?
It's not about manipulation.
No.
It's about building genuine connections.
It is. It's about building trust
Yeah.
and offering something of genuine value to your audience.
That's a great point.
And that's a principle that really transcends industries and professions.
It does. It really does.
No,
And that's a great note to end on.
it is.
It's been a fascinating journey
It has.
through the mind of a copywriting master.
It's a legend.
So what are your final thoughts for our listener as they embark on their own writing adventures?
Well, I would encourage our listener to experiment with these concepts,
Okay.
to play with them,
Yeah.
to see what resonates with their audience.
Yeah.
And most importantly, to keep learning and growing.
Right.
The world of communication is constantly evolving, so
Yeah.
stay curious,
Yeah.
stay engaged,
Okay.
and never stop exploring new ways to connect.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. And we'd love to hear what resonates with you, our listener. What will you try out in your own writing? Share your thoughts with us. We're all ears.
We are.
Until next time, keep those words flowing. You know, it feels like we've only just scratched the surface.
Yeah, just barely.
But this deep dive into Sugarman's work has been packed with these insightful nuggets.
Oh, it really has.
And it strikes me that Sugarman wasn't just a brilliant copywriter.
Right.
He was also a savvy businessman.
Oh, yeah.
You know, remember how he talked about constantly testing and refining his approach?
Yeah.
That willingness to experiment and adapt is so crucial,
Absolutely.
especially in today's, ever-changing market.
For sure.
Yeah, he wasn't afraid to challenge the status quo and find those new ways to connect with his audience. I mean, he was ahead of the curve when it came to things like direct mail personalization and using memorable toll-free numbers.
He was.
Yeah.
And think about those seemingly random headings he used in his ad.
Yeah, the scrambled eggs.
I mean, that was pure experimentation.
Yeah.
He wasn't afraid to try something unconventional.
Right.
And it paid off.
Yeah, that's so inspiring. It reminds us that even in a field like copywriting, where there are, established rules and techniques,
Right.
there's always room for creativity and innovation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that's something that our listener can really, really take to heart. Don't be afraid to experiment with your writing, to test different approaches.
Yeah.
And to find what works best for you and your audience.
And for your audience, absolutely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what would you say is the most enduring legacy of Joseph Sugarman?
Ooh, good question.
What's that one thing that you hope our listener will carry with them long after they finish listening?
Well, for me,
Yeah.
it all comes back to that fundamental principle of understanding human nature. Sugarman was a master observer of human behavior.
Yeah.
And he used that insight to craft messages that resonated deeply with his readers.
He wasn't just selling products.
No.
He was connecting with people on an emotional level.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a skill that transcends any specific industry or profession.
Right.
Whether you're writing a marketing campaign, a business proposal, or even just a simple email. That ability to connect with your audience on a human level
Right.
is invaluable.
It's about building trust.
It is.
Establishing rapport and,
Yes.
and making your reader feel seen and understood.
Feel understood, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Well said. Well said. It's been an absolute pleasure exploring the world of Joseph Sugarman with you.
Likewise.
Well-
Likewise.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your insights
My pleasure.
and your expertise.
Happy to do it.
And to our listener, we hope you found this deep dive into the world of copywriting insightful and inspiring.
Absolutely.
Remember, the most effective communication comes from understanding and connecting with your audience.
Yes.
Keep experimenting, keep learning, and keep those words flowing.
Keep writing.
Until next time.